Welcome to Midday. Our first guest joining us is John Van Limbeek. There you go. I said it, John. From Abbott Wealth Management. We haven't seen you in a while, John, so welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
We're talking, of course, with Abbott. We always have a theme going, and this month's theme is financial makeover, which makes sense as we start a new year.
Yeah.
So just from your perspective, I guess, in this new year, what are some of the goals, I guess, that people can start to set for themselves?
Well, it's not so much about setting for themselves, about just going through the exercise. Right. And identifying what resonates, I guess, most with you. You know, whether it's financial or health or giving back, doesn't really matter what it is. Personal growth, right? We're trying to, we got to figure out what we want to do for the year. Usually write it down, is what they always tell you, and then make a plan toward achieving that. So, as we all know, the year will go by very, very quickly, and then we'll be sitting here in December and saying,
where did it go?
Happy New Year again.
That's right.
But we don't know if we achieved it if we don't write it down, and if we don't make one.
Exactly.
Right? So I thought that's where I'd start this year, given that everything's talking about goals and New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. You know, it's a perfect time for us to kind of lead into that as well. Talked about it last year. Talked about it. You know, it's kind of the cornerstone of what we do, or what an advisor should be doing, is trying to help. Once we figure out what the goals are, then it's a heck of a lot easier to get the goalpost. If we don't know what those are, how do you know if you're making your way down the proper road?
So have your mind set on that end goal, and then kind of work it.
Absolutely.
Work it from there. Okay, so we have some slides that you've sent to us. So let's look at these. So first thing, I guess, determining what is important to you, which you kind of mentioned.
Exactly, and begin with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey would say in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's so true, because you're sitting there, you need to know where you're going to go and then make a plan to get there. Right. And yeah, it's hard to look out 20 years, and we don't have to do that, but there are some general things you have to do. You do have to save if you're talking retirement, or because if you're not saving, you're obviously not going to get to that goal.
Right.
So we do have to start at some point with that. And then just, where do you want to get to? What do you want to achieve? And what are your dreams? Like, sounds very high, or is very high level, but, through discussions, with you and your husband, you can figure those out.
Yeah, and if you don't talk about it too, then, maybe it won't get done. Or
it definitely won't get done, because if you don't talk about it, necessarily you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right? And it's tough. It's not, but I think, for the most part, you can put some things down, right? If you want to lose weight, well, you got to make a plan to do it. It's not going to happen tomorrow. And if you don't do anything for 3 weeks, nothing's going to happen.
How specific should you be, though? Should you just write down that term, lose weight, or you know what I mean?
The goals should be, as they always say, should be SMART goals.
Right.
They should be specific and measurable and realistic and time-bound and, stuff like that. And those are the acronyms for the SMART goals. But so you should be specific, but you don't want to be too aggressive with it either. You need those small victories. It's a balance, right? As everything is I got to, in a financial wise, I got to save for 20 years, but I also got to live today. You got kids to raise, I got kids to raise, so it's a kind of a balance between now and then. Yeah. And hoping then comes. Yeah. Right? There's the other scary thing, right? But you got, whether it's professional and professional goals, we talked about them earlier, financial health, giving back, education, career, all those go into making you a better person for sure.
Exactly.
And then like you said before, write them down and usually assign a date.
That's a good idea.
You have to, for sure, right? And then you know for sure if you got there, and make them realistic for sure, because you don't want to, like you said, if you need to lose 10 pounds, trying to do it in 2 weeks is not realistic.
It's not,
right?
We only have about 30 seconds left, John. So let's just look at the last slide. I think there's one more slide, isn't there? Yes, there it is.
And there's just from the action, break it down into manageable segments, manageable sections. Again, so like I said before, celebrate the small victories. We need those short-term celebrations. Little comment there. The best time to start was yesterday.
I love that. That's
today,
great.
The next is today, kind of thing.
Right.
But it's so true. The year will go by so quickly. And 20 years go by very quickly.
It sure does. Absolutely. All right. Good tips as always. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate your time today, and of course having you back on the show. More information is right there on the screen if you want to get a hold of any of the team at Abbott Wealth. We're back in a couple of minutes. We're talking about a very revolutionary non-surgical way to reduce your fat. Speaking of goals, stay with us.